Alright everyone, time for another Defense of 4chan video. This is increasingly necessary for content creators to do this sort of thing because otherwise, sites disappear. We see this with 8chan. Censorship is rife right now. We've got a moral panic witch hunt going on of, the soccer moms of America. The boring people of society that probably should, they're not even mentally able to understand civics. Are people that try to run roughshod over those that are actually intelligent and creative in society. Like, they'll come to someone who's smart, and they'll try to tell them what they should and should not believe or should and should not say. And then when they realize that they're not taken seriously, they'll go to some billionaire and say, "Oh my god, well, offensive people exist. You need to help us. It's your duty as a good citizen of the United States. Here's some more fucking money. Here, take my money. Just make sure to censor people I don't agree with." That's basically what it boils down to. So, a medical worker, I guess, somebody who was obviously aware of the case, posted on 4chan when Epstein croaked. Almost a full hour before that detail was given to the mass media. That is, the corporate media got completely outmaneuvered by almost an hour by some random shitposter on 4chan who most people weren't even really taking seriously at the time. I actually saw the thread when it was up and I'm like, oh, I figured it was just a joke. Then when I realized Epstein actually had died, actually had been murdered, which is probably, there's a 99% chance he was murdered. I'm just going to start using that term because I'm not fucking stupid. When that happened, I was like, oh shit. Well, I guess somebody's probably fired. I would speculate, they haven't said who it is. I would speculate it's someone who's like old and doesn't give a fuck. Or maybe they just won the lottery and don't give a fuck. Or maybe they're like, 20 years old and don't give a fuck. They want to be able to do this. They might face charges, but I'm not sure. What would they charge them with? It's not really a patient confidentiality breach. Maybe. I guess maybe some civil fine or something. But I would think it would be worth it. You come out and say, yes, I was the person who trolled the whole fucking mass media for an hour. Haha, I am God. It'd be kind of interesting. But anyway, in the wake of this, it got reported on widely. It was funny because at first it was like the main reporting was that Epstein was shrieking in his cell prior to supposedly killing himself. Now this is definitely a mind breaker when it comes to trying to get the soccer moms of America to go back to sleep, because you're essentially saying, yeah, the dude who supposedly was asphyxiating himself was screaming at the time. That doesn't make sense. I don't think they wanted to have to report on this fact. I think ABC Go broke it, which is the funniest thing in the world. ABC breaking news headline, Epstein was screaming while he was choking to death. It doesn't make any sense. So they dragged out of their ass instead a series of hit pieces on 4chan saying, 4chan, the alt-right den of evil extremist far-right Nazis, where this person posted, and then there were conspiracy theories. A lot of them, these articles boil down to one sentence about the fact that the person shitposted on 4chan and told people Epstein was dead beforehand, which should be major news on its own. Like, in a vacuum, that's pretty major. Wow, I mean, a person taking to this website and getting people riled up. People knew before CNN reported it, they knew that Epstein was dead. Interesting story. Instead, though, it's one sentence about that, or maybe two if you're lucky, and then it's paragraph after paragraph. Well, this site is full of conspiracy theorists. People immediately started talking about the Clintons. It is an irredeemable site of MAGA hat-wearing Nazis and stuff like that. By the way, they should be deplatformed. Which is hilarious, because if you're old enough to have used 4chan years ago, you're old enough to remember a time when 4chan got called a far-left den of predatory individuals by, like, Bill O'Reilly at the time, or back in the era when it was sparring with Oprah and somebody was trolling her, saying something like they had over 9,000 penises raping people or something along those. I can't remember. Wasn't that a decade ago? I think that they trolled Oprah. 4chan's an interesting place. And it gets defamed generation after generation. 4chan remains roughly the same, which is it's full of shitposting and trolling and deliberately edgy material, wrecked threads and gore and scat and weird shit. And each successive generation of moralistic turds misinterprets that as being like their arch enemy, instead of just being the same den of shitposting trolls that it's always been. And so I have no doubt that 10 years from now, 15 years down the road, some new moralistic movement will aim its fire at 4chan too, and it'll still be there and it'll still be populated. The user base over the whole course of its lifetime has not demonstrably changed in age very much. It keeps getting new blood injected into it, and every time you have a series of stories running on ABC and CNN where soccer moms can tut-tut and clutch their pearls and moralistically whine about the state of the world today and how Jesus must be coming because it's certainly the end times, little Jimmy's looking over her shoulder. 4chan, what's that? Wow, a den of alt-right Nazis. Weird shit. People post about death and there's porn. I've got to go check this out. So little Jimmy goes, unfortunately, probably gets banned multiple times for realizing, read the fucking Q&A. Read the fucking facts. And then, you've got to be 18 to be on the site. But, there's work-safe boards supposedly, but sometimes some shit slips through. And the janitors do it for free, and that mystifies people also. It was funny because I think it was actually seriously queried on Twitter by, I believe, BuzzFeed a month ago who Janny was. I think that was real. These people are trying to attack something they don't even know its form. It's like if your attack on 4chan is going to be, well, they're a far-right side of Nazis. Dude, there has been shit posting about Jews, especially on politically related boards, politically incorrect aside, for a very, very long time. That was during the period when it was called far left. Bill O'Reilly still had a problem with the site. Fox News kept showcasing it over and over again, like the Glenn Becks of the world, and it was still called a far left site, and yet that shit was still there. This whole fucking point, it's funny. It's funny to be irreverent and edgy and say things that in polite company would cause people to gasp, because the soccer moms deserve to gasp. I mean, they're turds. They deserve to be bothered. They deserve to be inconvenienced in their bubble-dwelling little lives. That's basically what 4chan represents. I find it wonderful. I find it wonderful that the corporate media got flummoxed by some random person who happened to be there and reported on 4chan. This is why Politically Incorrect, by the way, is a great news aggregator, because if you weed through the shit posting and use a little bit of reason, you can actually eclipse the corporate media. Like when I was, reporting on it very early on, the only reason I was watching the story to see if it was even a legitimate claim, it was coming out from other people, and then, of course, I had to rush my video out. The only reason was because of a 4chan thread, because people had tipped me off to its existence, said, oh, here's some shitposter claiming Epstein's dead. So I was watching it, and so I was alert at the time to possible updates over whether that was true or not, and managed to get it out quickly. Wonderful site, absolutely wonderful. Way better. By the way, Tumblr, which sparred with 4chan years ago and now can't, didn't they just get sold to a new company for like a pittance compared to the billion or so that their parent firm, I think it was Verizon, had bought them for like $1 billion, and now they're worth a few million? That's because they got rid of the porn, dude. You got rid of the only reason anyone used Tumblr. Now it's just inactive, basically. Nobody wants to use Tumblr anymore. The fuck's the fucking point? The only thing on there was weird fetish shit anyway. I mean, it's 90% of your site and you ban it. Yeah, your site goes the way of the dinosaur. Nobody interacts with it anymore. So now people from 4chan can go raid Tumblr at a will and nobody's going to stop them. Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fucking shit? Tumblr doesn't matter anymore. Which, by the way, is one of the best things that's happened in the tech world in recent history. The fall of Tumblr. Oh, it was cause for celebration. It's a shitty site from day one anyway. The only good one was the Fuck Yeah Dolan Tumblr. I don't know if it's even there. I'll have to look that up later. Because that's some weird shit. Probably they got banned too. Oh my god, your cartoons are gory. They're 18 plus, M-rated. We're not allowed to have that on a site that's comprised largely of adults. Oh my god, there's big terrible fucking problems. Weird. Yeah, so the corporate media attacking 4chan, it's like, again, stick your cock in the beehive over and fucking over. Every time you do this, you lose. You get told where to shove it. Your censorship maneuvers fail. Fuck off. That's about all. Peace out.